It was one of those unspoken things that her friends envied, that her mother noticed in passing, and that Ayan, the man she had fallen for, had come to expect like a heartbeat. No matter how busy she was, no matter how late, one call from him and she'd answer. You always answer. That's what I love about you, Zoya, Ayan had once said, sprawled across her couch, his voice lazy with comfort and an arrogance he didn't even know he carried. You're just always there. Back then, Zoya had smiled, tucking her hair behind her ear, pretending she hadn't felt the sting in that word. Always. Always there. Always available. Always his safe harbor. She remembered how she used to defend it when her best friend Mahira teased her. You spoil him, Zoya. One day, he'll take it for granted. That's what men do. He won't. He's different. They're never different, love. But Zoya believed he was. Because Ayan was charming, funny, tender when he wanted to be. He'd show up with her favorite pastries. He'd remember the exact shade of lipstick she'd worn on their first date. He'd pull her into his arms in crowded places like he didn't care who was watching. It was easy to forget that he was human, with flaws sharp enough to cut Dot, so she kept picking up the phone. She kept replying to messages within seconds, even if she was in the middle of cooking, studying, working. Even if her eyes were heavy with sleep, Dot, it was their rhythm. And Ayan, comfortable, secure, sweet when he needed to be, danced to it with an oblivious grace. Part 2, the shift. But something changes when the ache of being taken for granted starts to feel heavier than the comfort of being needed. Zoya first felt it that rainy Thursday. She was drenched, having forgotten her umbrella at the cafe where she'd waited for Ayan for 2 whole hours. He'd promised her dinner. He'd promised to explain. But he never showed. His phone went unanswered. His texts were casual hours later. Sorry, babe, emergency meeting. You know how it is. She knew how it was. She knew she was always second to his work, his friends, his moods. But she never said it. She swallowed it like bitter tea. When she got home that night, her reflection in the mirror startled her. The girl who'd wait for him, soaked to the skin, shivering, and still smile when he texted. Zoya had always been good at understanding people. She knew if she wanted to matter more, she had to remind him what her absence would feel like. So she didn't say anything. She just let the cold seep into her bones, not her words. She spent the weekend replaying their conversations every moment. When she'd dropped everything for him, every time she'd forgiven him without him asking for forgiveness, Mahira's voice echoed in her mind. Silence is a weapon too, Zoya. Part 3. The first missed call, it happened on a Tuesday night. She'd come home from work exhausted. Ayan's name flashed across her screen just as she was about to step into the shower. Usually, she'd pick up, the towel wrapped around her hair, giggling. You caught me at the worst time. And they'd talk anyway. But that night, Zoya looked at the phone, watched it ring, and let it go dark. A few seconds later, it buzzed again, this time a message. Hey, beautiful. Busy? She didn't open it. She placed the phone face down on the counter, her heartbeat loud in her ears. She kept telling herself she wasn't doing this out of pettiness, but because he needed to know the feeling of being unanswered. Half. An hour later, 3 more calls, 2 more messages. When she picked up her phone before bed, she read his last text. I hope you're okay. Call me when you're free. Zoya smiled, just a faint curve of her lips, and turned off her phone. Part 4. The growing restlessness. Ian didn't panic the first time. He was sure she was busy. He went to sleep with a mild annoyance, telling himself she'd apologize tomorrow, like she always did when she couldn't pick up in time. But the next day, Zoya didn't text first. She didn't call in the morning to say, have a good day, don't forget breakfast. She didn't send him reels or memes in the middle of the afternoon. By evening, He was pacing in his office, staring at his phone. He typed out a message. Everything okay? Did I do something? No reply. When he called, she declined it. Once, twice, third time. She let it ring. Ayan's mind, so used to her constant presence, started to wander into uncomfortable corners. Is she upset? Is she seeing someone? Is she sick? Did I forget something? He scrolled through their last conversation. No argument, no sign, nothing. Ayan didn't sleep well that night. Part 5. The memory Zoya lay on her bed, staring at the ceiling in the darkness. She could almost feel the weight of his thoughts drifting towards her, like invisible threads tugging at her chest. She missed him too. Of course she did. Her fingers hovered over her phone 100 times, but she remembered Mahira's words. He can't fear losing you if he doesn't know what it feels like when you're gone. So she closed her eyes, buried her phone under her pillow, and let the fear do its work. Part 6, Cracks in Certainty by the third day. Ayan's messages turned from casual to desperate. Zoya, where are you? Are you mad at me? Please talk to me. I'm sorry if I messed up. Just tell me what I did. She read them all, but left them unread. She posted a story instead, a picture of her coffee at her favorite cafe, a book by her side. Nothing dramatic, just proof that she was alive. Out there, just not with him. It infuriated him and terrified him. He showed the story to his friend Kabir. She's ignoring you, bro. You probably took her for granted. Chill, she'll come around. But Ayan knew Zoya. He knew she was soft-hearted. She'd never do this unless something had changed deep inside her. He replayed all the times he'd brushed her off, the dinners he'd missed, the days he'd made her wait. He felt the shame like a stone in his gut. Part 7, the confrontation on. The fourth day, he showed up at her apartment, unannounced. Zoya opened the door in her loose sweatshirt, hair tied in a messy bun, her eyes wide with controlled surprise. Ayan, what are you doing here? What am I doing here? Zoya, what are you doing? Why are you ignoring me? I've been calling and texting you for days. His voice cracked on that last word. She heard the panic he was trying so hard to mask with. Anger. Zoya stepped aside, letting him in. The apartment felt colder than usual. No candles lit, no soft music playing. It felt like her heart had stepped back into shadows. Ayan stood in the middle of her living room, looking out of place. He ran a hand through his hair. Did I hurt you? Tell me, please. Zoya sat on the edge of her sofa, folding her legs under her. Do you remember the last time I called you and you didn't answer? Zoya, that's different. I was busy. I waited for you in the rain for 2 hours, Ayan. His jaw tightened. He looked away. He had no defense. You've always known I'd wait, that I'd forgive, that I'd pick up on the first ring. But did you ever wonder what would happen if I didn't? Ayan's shoulders slumped. You're punishing me? No, she said, her voice steady. I'm reminding you. He sat across from her, his eyes softer now, the anger draining away, replaced by something rawer fear. Reminding me of what? He asked, almost in a whisper. What silence feels like. What it feels like when you call and no one picks up. When you send your heart out in words and they don't come back to you. I want you to know that I'm not always going to be here if you keep giving me reasons to walk away. Ayan's lips parted, 1,000 excuses dying behind them. He reached for her hand. She didn't pull away, but she didn't hold on either. I don't want to lose you, he said. His voice trembled, the first time she'd heard it do that. Zoya looked him in the eyes. Then learn how to keep me. Part 8. The echo that night when he left. Ayan's phone stayed silent in his pocket. He didn't know when she'd call next or if she would. Zoya lay awake for hours, staring at her phone screen. She could see his last message, I'm sorry. But she didn't reply yet. She knew he needed more time to feel the weight of her absence, Because sometimes silence speaks the loudest. Sometimes the fear of losing you is born not in your anger, but in your quiet, the quiet that makes them see how loud your love used to be. Zoya didn't remember the first time. She picked up Ian's broken pieces for him. Maybe it was the night he called her drunk, stranded outside a club he didn't even like, the rain pounding down while she raced through empty streets to get him. Or maybe it was the time he lost a big client at work and she stayed up with him until dawn, helping him fix his pitch deck for the next day. Some people build love by giving. Zoya built it by patching up holes he didn't even know he had dotted. Wasn't always big things. Sometimes it was the little ones, reminding him of his mom's birthday, picking up his dry cleaning, covering for him with his boss when he overslept after a night out. She was the soft mat underneath his high wire, and for a while she left it, being the one he could always count on, but the cracks showed up in moments when she was the one who needed saving. Like the night she got sick before her big exam, he sent a "get well soon, babe" text and went back to sleep. Or the day her car broke down on the highway. He was too tied up to come, so she waited for a stranger to help her jumpstart. The engine died, she kept telling herself it was normal. People love differently, right? Until she realized that loving someone shouldn't feel like carrying them uphill alone.